You have attempted to get back into routine more times than you can count. You've started on so many Mondays, working out, your workouts, calories, all of that good stuff, because you want to get into routine, you want to be consistent, you want to lose weight, and you've tried so many times, but every single time something comes up, bad week, work gets busy, you don't feel good, and ultimately every single time you end up back at square one, by this point you're thinking, is it me? Is there something wrong with me? I seem to be the common denominator because I keep trying and I just can't do it. So maybe I am just never meant to be in routine. But you've clicked on this video. So that's a lie. That's a lie that you've been telling yourself. It's so true. I'm here to absolutely destroy that lie that you've been telling yourself today. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to completely understand something about yourself that you haven't been able to articulate until this point, why you keep ending up back at the start, what to do instead, and a step-by-step framework. Woo! You are never going to need a fresh start again, just these next 28 days. For this next part of the video, let me draw you a pyramid because I think that would be really nice, and tell you about a time that I was in my second year of uni and I just found out about fitness. I wanted to get snatched. Saw girls online with big bums, defined arms, little waists, and I was like, I want to be that girl. So I went to the gym. I ate healthy, I restricted foods from my diet, I was lifting, and I just felt like I was doing the most, I'm not gonna lie. For about 6 months, that was my routine. And 6 months later, did I have big bum, little waist, snatched bod? No. And I was like, how have I been just going and going and going for 6 months, really putting the work in, but at the same time getting no results? Does not compute. I was so frustrated and confused because I felt like I'd wasted so much time being by myself. Like, I was at the gym by myself, I was working, I was kind of a bit embarrassed because obviously I'd spent all this time and it's like, oh, what are you up to today? Oh, I'm at the gym. And then I was thinking, well, people are going to know that I've been going to the gym, and like, I don't look, not that anyone cares, but like, you know, you care, and you're like, well, they're probably going to, you know, like this weird situation I was in. Until I realized that I was actually focusing on the tip and I hadn't built the base that I needed to see those results that I was looking for. So the base that you need, number one, is sleep, stress, nutrition, and consistency. I was a student, my sleep was bad, my stress was bad because I wasn't very good at organising when I should be getting my deadlines done. My diet was good and then bad because I'd restrict, and then I'd be like, oh, but I really want a takeaway, and then that takeaway would lead to snacking on a full packet of biscuits, and then I wasn't that consistent, even though I was going to the gym a lot and I was eating a lot of healthy food. When I looked back, I realised, the base of my health isn't consistent. So nothing was going to work. So once I got a regular sleep routine and I was rested, once I managed my calendar a bit better and I wasn't as stressed, so the stress didn't make us eat an entire packet of biscuits in one sitting. Once my diet was consistent and I wasn't restricting these foods so that the stress derailed us, and ultimately when these things were in place, then I was in the position to be able to prime my routine. Priming basically means turning this into something that we can lose weight with, kind of get into routine with. So you've got your baseline healthy routine. Priming, we are just gonna tinker with nutrition a little bit, play around with bigger portions, less calories, more protein, more fiber. Make sure that our nutrition is kind of optimized for a fat loss phase. And then make sure that our training is optimized for a fat loss phase as well. Increase that a little bit more. And when we increase our training, we're going to be burning more calories. And because we've got a good base of health, when we tweak a little bit, we are basically increasing our energy expenditure. That allows us to, the tip of the D, the tip of the D is the deficit. The tip of the pyramid is a deficit, right? So I bet by now, this is stage 3. But I bet that you've been always doing this first. You have been saying, okay, as of tomorrow, I want to lose weight. I want to eat in a calorie deficit and I'm going to go to the gym. Even though before that, you haven't been working out, you haven't been consistent, you haven't built your base or primed you've just jumped straight to the tip of the D. When you jump straight to the tip of the D, good things don't happen. Good, bad things happen. So I really hope that this has helped paint the picture in your mind of what you need to do. Last year, a client joined the wellness club, Sarah, and she had been really healthy and fit in the past and trained so much, snatched, but went through a lot of life stuff, a lot of stress, a lot of bad things came up in her life, which were really hard to handle. Her stress was out of control. And we took a deep dive into everything. We went through our whole history, what she was capable of, all these things. We looked at her current routine, and I shit you not, I'm telling you right now, because I'm going to tell you what's happened. We looked at everything. We did a full analysis of everything to do with her health. And the first goal that she was set was a bedtime. The first week that she started, and you're like, whoa, that seems a bit, why sign up? It's a bit pointless to sign up if the, just going to be bedtime. What the hell is the point of coaching? Well, that was the domino that we worked out from understanding a deep understanding of her, where everything else was falling apart. We figured out that if she was getting enough rest, it would be managing the stress, giving her enough time and energy to do the workouts that she wanted to do. And that is the first goal in the first week, built up so that in a few months she lost 9 kilograms. So it got snatched, left the deficit because she'd done it. It was effective and easy and she thoroughly enjoyed it. To start focusing on the performance goals that she loved. Squatted 96 kilograms the other week and feels fucking amazing. And we started literally here with that first goal. So you're thinking, what's the point in just, focusing on my bedtime? Well, we see the bigger picture, and often you can just jump to the tip of the D. You jump to the tip of the D because you're like, this is what I need to do to make progress, when we understand what you actually need to do to get everything in place to be able to make progress. But that's why I'm sharing this with you today. So if in the past you've thought, oh, what's the point in just making a tiny tweak, having a bigger breakfast, this is the point I'm telling you right now. To summarize the first point, you are gonna build consistency, increase intensity, then go into a deficit. I'm going to be covering one point, and then the final point will actually be the 28-day framework that you are gonna use so that you never ever fall off and start again. If you are completely new to me, my name is Ailish, and I am the founder of the Wellness Club, Women's Health Online Coaching, and 8 months ago I had a baby. Woohoo! Best day of my life. But in the run up to that, well, I had an emotional journey trying to conceive, and it was really, really difficult. I leant on emotional eating. Then throughout pregnancy, anyone who's been pregnant before, you get a bit anxious, and I really didn't want to develop a bad relationship with food. So because I'd had the emotional eating during trying to conceive, and because, I had pretty insatiable hunger during pregnancy too, I gained 26 kilograms. As somebody whose job it was to help people lose fat sustainably, to then go through pregnancy, gain so much weight, and be on Instagram feeling super insecure in my own body, because that was ultimately the thing that sold the product in the past. Like, I was at rock bottom. I gave birth, and one part of us, the mother part, was really happy and excited on my new journey. The other part of us was like, what the fuck do I do now? Where do we go from here? And so being in this place was really hard because it was unfamiliar. I didn't want to be there. I didn't choose to be there. It was just where I ended up being. So I had two options. Option one, go with the flow, see what happens, see if eventually I snap out of it. Or two, design a new identity and act in accordance with that identity, because that old person, she didn't exist anymore. She gave herself up so this new version of me could exist, and I am in control of my actions. Therefore, if I decide who I want to be, I'll control how I act, and then I'll end up being the person that I wanted to be all along. So, my identity. Whether you like it or not, you operate from your identity. And obviously, as an example, because it's relevant, before being a mom, I didn't change nappies. I didn't plan meals for a baby. I didn't book in vaccinations. I didn't do any of those things because I wasn't a mom. Now that I am a mom, that's my identity, and those are the things that I do. So When I was straight home postpartum, I thought, what kind of mum do I want to be? Because I get to choose and I'm selfish and I want to be happy. I don't want to lose myself to motherhood. I seen that a lot in people around me and they didn't seem very happy. And I thought, I've seen other people who tend to be quite happy and live their own life and be parents. So I want to give that a go. I don't see why it couldn't be me. Other people can do it. So if they can do it, surely I can do it. And I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be fit. I wanted to lose 26 kilograms. I wanted to be capable. I wanted to be able to do it. So I designed this identity of a mom who does all those things. So for an example, I wanted to be happy, regulated, and fit. And I'm just going to take you through my example so that you can use it for your own example, because hey, you might not be a mom, so like it might not be like relevant to you, but in case, you know, whatever. So the identity, I wanted to be happy, and I knew to be happy, I'd have to have my own interests and pursue my own interests. And that was something that I had to implement into my life. So I have been scrapbooking, I've been knitting, I have been doing loads of creative artistic things. Recently I've got a Filofax, so now I'm organizing my life in a Filofax. Those are my own interests that I love and enjoy, and every single evening I set aside time. As soon as baby gets put to bed, I have a shower and then I go and do that. Now, obviously, in the first few weeks postpartum, that's not possible, but it's something I always thought about. And as bedtime became a thing, this was something that I worked on more and more because I always thought about it and I made it easier for myself. So now, 8 months down the line, every evening at 7:30, I have about 30 to 60 minutes where I look into my own interests that fill my cup and I'm happy. And these are just things that bring me joy. And other things that bring me joy are going on a daily walk, and I go on a daily walk with my family, and cooking, setting aside time for those things that actually make us happy. Being regulated is really important to me because I don't want to be a mum that shouts in public. I don't want to be, so I want to be regulated. And what helps is my husband is great because if I'm ever feeling unregulated, he will take over. That's lucky for me because that is a really big part of it. I don't know what I would do otherwise. I'd hope that I was regulated, but I'm not going to lie, my husband is a really good, big part of me being regulated. But I've also got a lot of habits for regulation: exercise, consistent diet, evening walk, morning sunlight, a lot of things that impact my circadian rhythm, positively. That's it. Sorry, my brain just stopped working there for a second. And being regulated is really important to me, but that requires forethought and effort and planning. And then being fit, I needed to work out, I needed to eat well, I needed those things to be in a deficit and lose weight and be fit. I viewed myself as happy, regulated and fit, figured out what I needed to do to get there, and then made sure that there was time in my schedule aligned to that. So the reason that I'm taking you through all of this is because if your plan doesn't align with your identity, you're not going to do it. So if I didn't care, truly, you might think drawing on an evening is the worst thing that you could ever imagine, and it's not for you. You're never gonna, why would you force yourself to do something you're not gonna do? So if it's really going against the grain of what you actually enjoy, you're really going to struggle to do it. So it's really important that it's aligned with your identity. There are things that I'm not passionate, I lost the weight, I'm snatched. I'm going to go into a triathlon and toddler training phase where I get strong and train for a triathlon, be able to be strong enough to lift my baby over my head. I can do that now, but as she gets heavier, I want to still be able to do that. Then after a few months, I'm going to go into another deficit and I'm going to get a bit more snatch. But you'll never catch me being super, super lean because that would require me removing wine, takeaways. It would require me removing things from my life that I really enjoy that wouldn't be aligned with me. So you're never going to catch me being super duper lean. You're going to catch us being snatched, but not super lean. You're also probably not going to catch us playing a sport. I like sport, but at the moment it doesn't really feel aligned with us. So think about this in your mind. what actually does feel aligned with you as a person. Walking, you could do it fast, you could do it slow, you could do it to a podcast, you could do it in the morning, in the evening. Walking you should probably find some kind of alignment, because it's good for being regulated, happy and fit. Like, it's one of those things that you kind of need to find, but in a way that works for you. I have a 30-minute walk in the evening and a 60-minute walk on my walking pad at the start of the day. That's how I plan that in. But basically, you need to make sure that who you want to become is clear, because if it's not, then you won't follow the plan, because it won't be aligned with who you want to become. So I told you about coming home postpartum and really thinking about who I wanted to become: happy, regulated and fit. So what I did was I went away and created a habit tracker with meeting myself exactly where I was in that moment, which was post-emergency surgery, not in my most fit and healthy of places. Set habits, go about that week, see how they went, reflected and adjusted. 28 days later, I was in routine. So this is what you're going to do. This is a 28-day little tracker. I think we can see that. Am I just moving that down? Am I coming down? I think we can see this. Oh, I don't know. So for your sleep, stress, nutrition and consistency, you are going to create a habit that meets you where you are. This is minimum. You can have as many, or no, it's not minimum. You can just pick one. I don't care. Follow your heart. Make a habit. So let's give you some examples to work with. A bedtime for sleep. Stress management could be journaling to notice what makes you stressed. Nutrition could be a big breakfast. Consistency in training or something else that you find difficult. So maybe it could be one workout, core rehab or something like that. So you've got 4 habits, 1 habit, 20 habits, it's up to you. And then you're going to give that a go for the week. So I'm just going to go through like 4 habits here. You do great, and then you don't do too good. And then you're going to get to the end of the week and you're going to say, it looks like my stress habit, that I struggled with that. So you're going to reflect, adjust and say, okay, I made it too hard, let's go easier. Or do you know what? I've realized that's not aligned. And then you're going to change it. You're going to get to the bottom here. You're going to get to 4 weeks down the line. You are going to have a consistent bedtime routine. You are going to have figured out the root cause of your stress. You're going to have, if you focused on breakfast, then lunch, then dinner. By the end of 28 days, you are going to have a consistent nutrition routine where you're having a healthy breakfast, lunch and dinner. And you are going to be consistent with your workouts. So we could start off something like, to begin with, we are having big breakfast. Big breakfast. At the end, we are having 3 balanced meals. At the start, we could be doing 1 walk a day. And at the end, we could be doing 3 workouts and 1 walk a day. And that's it. That's the formula. So it's really simple. Meet yourself where you are. Be really gentle and easy. Track it throughout the week. Review, adjust for the following week. And then just keep doing that. And in 28 days, you'll have learned so much about yourself. Because I'm telling you, in the past, you've just jumped in at the day. You've jumped in at the tip of the day. And then it's not worked after 1 or 2 weeks and then you've given up. You've never started at the bottom of the P and reviewed and adjusted. And another reason this works is when you tick and you succeed and you do things like that, it's really good for your brain. It helps you build your comfort zone bigger, slowly, better. Also gives you a lot of confidence. If you jump in at the tip of the P and you jump into a D, well, all of those crosses, let me do the crosses. All of those crosses just make you say, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure. So that becomes your internal dialogue. When instead, if we have really easy to meet routine habits, such as a 5-minute walk every day, as much as you feel like a little bit of a dick, what's the point in a 5-minute walk? Because this part of your brain's like, you can't do it, what's the point? Ignore that voice in your head and just do it. Just do that 5-minute walk. By the end of the week, because who can't stick to a 5-minute walk every day, your brain will say, oh my God, she got 7 ticks. Oh my God, she's so sexy and I love her. Am I that bitch? Then she'll say, do you know what? Let's fucking go. 10-minute walk. 10-minute walk, easy, every single day. Wowza. And then your brain is like, I'm the baddest bitch that's ever lived. Everyone else is a loser. And then she goes, okay, 30-minute walk. And do you know what? You go on a 30-minute walk, you fail a few times, and then you say, do you know what? Fair enough, I was a bit eager. Let's drop down to a 20. But you can see how, if you fail a few times with this method, when you get to the failure, your brain is like, that's fine, let's just adjust. Whereas when you fail with jumping in at the top of the pyramid, jumping into a deficit, your brain's like, I have failed, let's give up. I've got the solution. Now, if you still feel like you want to take inspiration from your old routine in your old life and you're wondering why it doesn't work, if you're a little bit like, this is frustrating because I've been fit before, so I don't understand why I've got to do this, please go to my previous video, why your old routine doesn't fit your new life, to understand why it's not going to work and what to do about it. It's going to make everything make sense in your head. Otherwise, have a good one. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in my next video.